So basically, we're going to be doing Eval Guesser, which is we're going to be having a position, and we are going to be looking at that position, and we are going to be trying to guess what the evaluation is of it. Here we go. This is the position that we need to analyze. It's black to move. Black can only take this queen. So this is the only position that black can go for. So knight takes d4. Okay, and what happens after that? So knight takes rook d1. And then what? This is just losing a piece for black. I looked at the wrong position. What do you mean? You said it was 18. Move 18, white to... Oh, because it's white to move. Oh, it's this one. This is the position. I see. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're analyzing. But I think it's going to be the same thing. I think this is like the most clear variation. This is the first thing that I need to look at. And we're going to be attacking both the knight and the bishop. And there's literally no way of saving them. And then there's going to be, what, two pawns for a piece? So that should be like plus 1.5 or something. Bing, bang, boom, plus 1.5 is the eval that I'm going to say over here in this room.
In this position, after takes, not that one, but this rook to d1, white's just winning because I'm winning a piece. Isn't this one very simple? So white has an extra piece and black has a pawn for the piece. 3 points for the piece, 1 point for the pawn. So if you guessed +2, you'd probably be very, very, very correct. And then usually when you have an imbalance like this, even though black has a pawn for the piece, white is so clearly winning and better. There's no compensation. That's a bit better than that. So probably maybe 2.1, 2.2.
Okay. So what I thought about the position was, I mean, at first it just looks like black has 2 extra pawns, right? But I was thinking that after queen takes queen, knight takes queen, rook a d1 I think is better. They were both attacking the knight and the bishop, yeah? So, or I mean, we're like pinning the knight. So like if the knight moves to defend itself, then we're taking the bishop. And there's no like bishop b5 or anything to like stop it. So it just seems like we're winning that.
Yeah.
We'll be having a piece for like 2 pawns. But yeah, what are you thinking, Amon?
I would give a very generous eval to white because all I can see is either I'm up a piece and I'm going to have like the 2 bishops, or we're going to trade a set of minor pieces and I'm going to have a full extra piece. So I'd assume whatever position I get in would be something that I would deem like winning or completely winning.
Yeah.
So I would feel like I'd want to give a good eval, but seeing that it's 2 pawns for the piece, I don't think I would have gotten it right.
Let's see. Now we can go ahead and do it. Oh yeah, like plus 2.15. Yeah, so it was like relatively close. Okay, guys, so we're gonna go for the next one. Move 29, black to move. So knight takes f5. Okay, it's black to move. So rook here is the first thing that's coming to mind. Rook g8. And then knight g7 could be an idea. And actually, knight g7 is the only way to play it, right? Because this move has to happen. Right now, white is threatening checkmate. Then, to not lose the queen, you know, knight g7 has to be played. And then what? How is the material? It's equal material. Okay. Queen c8, queen f8. Definitely be an idea. The knight will never be able to move pretty much. Or even going... No, but bishop b7, bishop b6, queen a7 I think is too slow. Actually, something that's really interesting, now that I'm thinking about it, is that after rook g8, knight g7, there's a lot of checkmating ideas for... Perhaps for black. I mean, or for white. Like going rook here, and, you know, threatening thing. I do think that white is better in this position. These bishops are disastrous. I also think that there's going to be a lot of, you know, looking at h7. It's equal material. So I think in general, this should just be good for white. Do I say +5 or is that insane? I can't see. So rook here, knight there. Okay. What are you going to do as black? Are you going to try to get your bishops around? Boom. You know? It's literally just boom. And then what? Where do you go? I mean, I even have time to like bring my I can't allow this queen to come in here, but we bring the second rook in. We go here, we go here, we go checkmate, and how do you stop it? I just don't see it. Okay, bing bang boom. +5 is in the room. I'm gonna say +5.
Black to move after knight takes f5. So this is the position. The pawns are actually even here. And very importantly, rook g8 does not just win the entire game on the spot. There's knight g7. But I can tell you that white's position looks... could be suspicious. It's black to move. I think black's move is very important, and it might have to be this. Rook g8, knight g7. Maybe black is still kind of in a box. Just making sure there's no like tactics like queen g7, takes king g8, knight h6, king takes g7. No, there's no tactical trick. Black's bishops are really bad though. a7 and c6, totally useless. Rook's not doing anything. Let's say black just goes random move, rook c8. My question is, what is white doing? Where are the threats for white? Because e6 doesn't look like much. Let's say it's like a rook lift, like rook f4, rook f3, and you go here and you take. That wants to lead to mate, but I still don't think it does. But it feels like after knight g7, white just has a free roll to like bring the pieces over here, and black can't do anything about it. And there's not enough threats that black can make. I think what's crucial though after knight there is the move b4, I would guess, or something attacking this. Let's say b4, you can't take this way, so you take with the pawn, then black goes bishop b5, the rook is hit, you go rook f3, right? And then black goes rook c8, and he's threatening rook takes c3, with bishop d4 coming. Meanwhile, I don't believe this yields any threats, so I think this game is actually a lot better for black than it looks. And I think it might be because of this and b4. Bishop can't take, so let's say pawn take, bishop b5, activating, hitting this. White still has no threats, and then as soon as rook c8 comes, I get very concerned about the position. It seems like black has a lot of threats all of a sudden. If black's position was better than I thought. Here, rook f3, rook c8. Probably have to go like rook d1 to make sure you're guarding that pawn. But position just starts to look sketchier and sketchier. So I don't think I could say this is better for black. I don't see any continuation. But I don't think it's crushing for white. I'd probably give an edge to white, maybe like plus 1.8, something like that. Because I don't see how black covers everything. Wouldn't go higher than 3 myself, but I could go a little bit higher than 1.8, I mean. Yeah, I might say low 2s.
I have a final answer, but I think this can be either or, but my final answer was +5 for white. I think white is winning. My idea was rook g8 is the only way to stop this, right? So to stop the checkmate on g7, so you pretty much have to go rook g8. And then my plan was to go knight g7. That's what I wanted to do. And my idea was just to try to checkmate on h7, and I don't really see how you're gonna stop it as black. Because the bishops are just so off play right now. So my plan was just to go basically rook f4, rook h4, queen c2, and checkmate. Or maybe even bring another rook so that there is no queen f5, but I just didn't see how black would have time to stop all this.
For me, the 50-50 is that I just don't really know how confident the computer is going to be on this attack, because I don't see that many ways to stop it, but there are a few resources for black, like b4 and bishop b5. And one thing that can never happen is if, let's say, rook g8, knight g7, b4, let's say pawn takes b4, bishop b5, and let's say you did like rook f4 to do your plan.
Yeah.
If I played bishop d3 there, I think you almost, like, you're really running, your plan is very hard to execute all of a sudden, because the bishop might just like go on g6 and just like sit there. And if black can ever sack the rook for the knight on g7, you might be winning, but again, it's not going to be like it's not going to be crazy. It's just be like, okay, you're winning, but it's not force or something. So you have to watch that like the bishop doesn't get around to that diagonal, and black also has like a few tricks with rook c8 and try to play rook takes c3 and bishop takes d4 because your knight's on g7. So I agree with you. I think that white should be winning. Knight on g7 is so strong. e6 is a threat with like f7 coming. I don't know. This might be just the conservative in me, but I was a little more conservative with my guess, even though I do agree with your assessment. I think white is winning. I think white's totally winning, but I was kind of more like very conservative. So this will be interesting because I went with something more like plus 2.2, let's say. 2.2, 2.3. I'll be very interested to see the result.
Are you ready to see it?
Yeah, okay, let's go.
You are a genius, Amon.
This is a little more in line with what I was thinking.
Okay, alright, let's go ahead and go for this game now. Okay, move 25, black to move. So in this position, everybody, we have black to move. It looks like white is just gonna checkmate very soon. Oh, and they went bishop takes c5 and they lost because the queen takes b7. Is there any way for black to defend? Is the question. So I guess that the first thing that comes to mind is what happens if rook here, but then you just... Oh, black is like up a lot of material. So rook g8. Okay, interesting. But rook g8, there seems to be queen here, yeah? I'm just afraid of queen here. There might be this. The thing is clear though. If white doesn't checkmate, black is winning. Oh yeah, so actually maybe this is then better. Because if queen b6, we just have bishop takes c5 anyway. So yeah, if we exchange queens, is winning for black. You know, there may be things that white can do. But I don't see them though. I don't think there's anything. There's just that winning for black, isn't it? Yeah, I would say it's like +7 or so. I mean, -7. Sorry, -7.
So this is the position. There's obviously checkmate. Checkmate in 1 is threatened. The question is, first of all, what's the material? So black's up a rook right now. To me, rook d7 wins this chess scheme on the spot. Unless I'm missing something. But that should be kind of game over. Knight takes e6, takes, king there, takes, king there, is nothing. Up everything. The problem with this is no one's gonna be able to get it right. Because it's gonna be like it's gonna be minus a bajillion or something. So rook here, queen there. Bishop takes c5. Queen has to take on c5. And then it's like, black is so winning. It's so winning. Pawn takes here probably. Knight takes e6, queen c6. That looks like maybe the top line. And all that, it's gotta be more than -6. It's gotta be like, I don't know, minus like 8.5 or something.
My final evaluation was like -6, -7. I'm gonna say -6.5 to put it somewhere in between.
Well, basically, there's mate in 1 threatened, and it seems to me like rook d7 is the move that black's gonna play to stop it. And then I'm gonna be able to trade the bishops, and I'm gonna be able to play like pawn takes e5. So I'm gonna be up a pawn. Well, in that position, I'm up 2 pawns and a rook. And if white plays knight takes e6 to get one of the pawns back, then I thought I can play queen c6, which forces the queens off. And with the queens off the board, generally the evaluation should be a lot higher because we're very, very close to, well, yeah, like very close to winning, let's say. So I gave a little bit more of an optimistic, like -8.2, because I think that things are going to get traded. And let's say if I have an extra rook against you and you only have a king, the evaluation will be super high because it'll probably say force mate or -1 billion. And if I have an extra rook and it's move 3, the evaluation might even be like less than the value of the rook.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and check this out.
It looks like
-8.14. Are you kidding me, Amon?
Okay, that was pretty damn good. That was
Are you actually kidding me?
Yeah.
You really said
I will pat myself on the back for that.
Wow, this is actually really cool.